Caitlin Clark was getting hammered on the court for weeks while the WNBA stayed silent, and fans were furious that analysts wouldn't touch the subject until the silence finally broke, not from inside the WNBA, but from the NBA's biggest names. LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Steph Curry, and others weren't just praising her game, they were standing up for her after watching what was actually happening, with Steph reaching his limit after noticing the silence and the hard fouls, and when he spoke out, it spread fast through the basketball world. He wasn't alone. At least 6 NBA All-Stars went on record saying Clark isn't a fluke but a top-tier talent being unfairly targeted, and it needs to stop. Some of the league's biggest stars gave honest, word-for-word takes that might catch you off guard, including Pascal Siakam, the All-Star champion known for his smooth two-way game, who everyone expected to give a safe, generic answer when asked about Clark, but instead, asked which player gets the most love around the league. He brought her up out of nowhere, ranking her right up there with NBA players themselves.
Man, Caitlin she's a beast, man. Like, and they love her. So I'll probably say Caitlin Clark. I love Tyrese, but she's another level in terms of just the love. Like.
Think about that for a second. Pascal wasn't comparing her to other WNBA players. He was comparing her to one of the NBA's most exciting point guards, Tyrese Halliburton. And he didn't stop there. He said Clark was getting more love than just about anyone. That's not a casual compliment. That's recognition. That's proof for anyone still thinking the WNBA exists in its own little bubble. When someone's name starts coming up in conversations about the NBA's elite, you know their impact is real. Siakam could have named anyone, and he chose Caitlin Clark. That's not just a headline, that's a shift. It shows she's broken through the invisible wall between the two leagues, and guys like Pascal are backing her up. He didn't have to say what he said, and that says it all. Obi Toppin isn't usually one for big statements or quotable soundbites, but his comment on Clark stood out anyway. It was simple and unpolished, and honestly, that hits harder than any rehearsed media line could. Toppin plays with energy and swagger on the court, but when he talks about Clark, his whole tone changes. It's not just respect, it's genuine appreciation, the kind reserved for someone clearly doing more than the stat sheet shows.
Amazing. Super amazing. She's a great player. Having her be courtside and watching our games is awesome. We see the excitement that she has on the sides, but just like she's doing that, we do the same. Like when they're playing, like it's so.
It's the comparison that stands out, not just the words. Obi put Clark and the WNBA on equal footing with the NBA, not as an afterthought, not as something lesser. They celebrate wins the same way NBA players do, and that kind of mutual respect is rare and meaningful. There's something genuinely cool about seeing Clark courtside and knowing the respect from NBA players is real, not just a "oh look, a celebrity's here" moment. It's real admiration built on a shared love of the game. What Toppin said doesn't need to go viral to matter. It might not make headlines, but it reflects something bigger. How people see Clark has shifted. She's not just a women's basketball player anymore, she's a hooper, full stop. Once NBA players start talking about you like you're one of them, you've already arrived in their world. It's easy to toss out a generic compliment to make someone feel good. She's amazing, I respect her game, that kind of thing. But Tyrese Halliburton took a different approach. Since he and Clark share the same hometown, he didn't just hype her up for the sake of good PR. His comments came from real familiarity, from actually knowing her and watching the pressure she's faced every day without backing down.
I think for me, getting to actually spend time around her, be around her, get to know her personally, she's just an amazing person, an amazing player. She deals with a lot there's a lot of rhetoric behind her that she really has no control over. And I think that the way she handles that is just amazing. Like, I think when it comes to the game of basketball, like, she's probably top 5 most famous people that are playing right now, just in general. That includes our league.
Tyrese, an NBA All-Star, put Clark in the same breath as LeBron, Steph, and Jokic, naming her among the 5 biggest names in the game right now. That's not hype talking, that's reality. He sees the numbers, the media noise, the fan frenzy. He knows what it means to carry a franchise on your back, and as a young player himself, he recognizes that Clark is dealing with something even tougher. What often gets missed is the empathy behind his words. He's not just defending her as an athlete, he's defending her as a person. Tyrese is putting a spotlight on the unfair treatment, pressure, and noise she never asked for. And make no mistake, Clark is more than ready to handle it. When LeBron James speaks, the whole sports world pays attention, not just listens. Every word gets dissected, every pause gets analyzed. That's simply what happens when someone who's defined basketball for 2 decades decides to weigh in. So when LeBron spoke up about Clark, it wasn't some throwaway comment. It carried real weight, a strong, genuine endorsement that cut through all the noise and backlash, getting straight to what this moment in sports is really about.
And for you to say anything and they're gonna splice it and cut it and make it a negative thing. And I think for her, the one thing that I love that she's bringing to her sport, more people want to watch. More people want to tune in. I saw for the first time that they had a chartered plane for the first time in their league history. They flew private. That should be celebrated in his own right.
LeBron isn't just backing Clark, he's standing up for growth in the sport as a whole. He's seen firsthand what she's had to deal with, and it's not just media pressure, it's a real cultural shift. He understands what it means to be the one carrying a league forward into a new era. This goes beyond the history books, it's a legacy moment. He's lived through the same kind of scrutiny, the expectations, the target on your back, all of it. Maybe that's why he sees a bit of himself in her. She didn't just earn LeBron's admiration, she earned his respect, and that's a completely different level of compliment. It takes real confidence to challenge one of the most watched shooters in the world to a three-point contest. And being the one who actually calls for it takes even more nerve. That's where Trae Young comes in. Trae's known for his deep range and fearless attitude, he's never been the shy type. But when he talks about Clark, his tone shifts just slightly. He's still confident, still got that easy charm, but there's a clear note of genuine respect in there. This isn't just one great shooter complimenting another, it's real, in-the-moment recognition between peers at the top of their game.
Sabrina, I know that you have spoken about Caitlin Clark. You're a big Caitlin Clark fan.
Oh, yeah.
She, of course, is an excellent shooter. Would you ever do like a Caitlin Trae three-point contest at All-Star?
Of course I would. I've gotten to talk to her too throughout her college years. We're the only 2 people that ever led college in points and assists. That's a crazy stat. I'd have to definitely practice a lot more than I have for these previous three-point competition.
For starters, only 2 players in NCAA history have led the nation in both points and assists in a single season. That's not just a cool stat, that's basketball royalty. And Trae's comments about her aren't some polite gesture either, they're genuine, real respect for talent from a different generation. He's not pretending he'd win a shootout against her, he openly admits he'd have to step his game up. That's the highest compliment you can give. Clark isn't just part of the conversation anymore, she is the conversation. Young's even open to sharing the spotlight, or going head-to-head with her. Paul George isn't one for empty talk. He doesn't speak just to seem relevant, he speaks to add real perspective. And he gave one of the most thoughtful takes we've heard from any NBA player about Clark. He didn't jump straight into praise, and he didn't criticize either. Instead, he zoomed out and gave context, because George touched on something completely different from the usual talk, the viral highlights, controversial fouls, or record-breaking shooting stats that dominate most conversations about her.
Right. These girls have been grinding to grow the game of basketball in the WNBA. They've been grinding to grow the sport to the world, the viewerships. They've been grinding for all of this. And then you have this girl that comes along from college and is an instant change. She's handed pretty much being the face of the league. There's going to be girls that...
This isn't a shot at Clark, it's a reality check about how fast the culture is shifting. Even Paul George doesn't question her talent. In fact, calling her an instant change only confirms it. But he's also pointing out something that doesn't get talked about enough, the emotional toll on the women who built the league before her. The veterans who fought for charter flights, played in half-empty arenas, and did it all without cameras following their every move. They put in the same work but never saw the same rewards Clark is getting now. Even though she's earned it, it still stings when someone steps in and instantly becomes the face of the league. George didn't excuse the resentment, but he did explain where it comes from, and in doing that, he showed just how layered this moment really is. Clark isn't just at the center of attention, she's at the center of a much bigger shift affecting everyone in the sport. Luka Doncic, meanwhile, says exactly what he thinks. Anyone who's watched him play or speak knows he's blunt, no filter, no sugarcoating. So when he was asked a simple question about women's basketball, his answer carried real weight. no hesitation, no diplomatic dodging. In just a few words, Luka made his point loud and clear.
Caitlin Clark.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't like Paige Buchers?
She's okay. I didn't see her playing the women's NBA.
That shift in tone wasn't an accident, the context here is pretty straightforward. Luka made it clear he wasn't downplaying anyone's skill. What matters to him is that Clark is now doing it at the pro level. She's not just a March Madness highlight or college hype anymore, she's showing up night after night, taking hits, and still delivering, grinding it out in the trenches. There's real respect in what Luka said, even if it's understated. He knows what it actually takes to make it as a pro and perform consistently. The way he talked about it was straight basketball talk, one player who's lived it recognizing another who's living it now. When a generational talent like Luka acknowledges Clark, that's not just a compliment, it's confirmation. She's passed the test. She belongs. In Luka's eyes, she's already that caliber of player. He'd been watching from a distance as the hits kept coming and the league stayed quiet. Then Steph Curry, one of basketball's most respected voices, decided it was finally time to speak up. And his words weren't just support for Clark. They sent a message to everyone watching.
Getting attacked. If the league doesn't step up and protect her, things are going to get ugly real fast.
That wasn't just support, it was a wake-up call. When Steph speaks out like that, everyone in the league, and everyone watching, has to take notice. But he didn't stop there. After addressing how Clark's being treated, he went further, breaking down her game with a level of detail only he could offer, pointing out her timing, her range, and the fearless style that reminded him of his own. You could hear the genuine respect in every word.
I saw somebody break down the release time, which is pretty much identical to mine. And then her just confidence, you can't help but watch when she plays, where she's shooting from, the range, the confidence, the flair, like she's a performer. It's crazy though, just because her shot is like that, it's at that level. If you really watch, like her floor game is as impressive, so it's kind of the total pack.
Let that sink in for a second. Steph Curry, arguably the greatest shooter the NBA has ever seen, said Clark's shot is in the same league as his own. That's not media spin. Coming from someone at the very top, that's real respect. But what makes the comment even stronger is that he didn't stop at her shooting. He called her a total performer, pointing out her floor game and the small details true basketball fans notice but casual viewers miss: her feel for the game, her passing, her court vision. It's all there. Steph isn't just noticing Clark's game, he's genuinely impressed by it, and that's a completely different thing. It's rare for a reason. When the man who reshaped basketball forever tells you that you've got the complete package, that's not just praise, that's a torch being passed. Sometimes silence speaks louder than words, and Jason Tatum's silence said a lot. The Celtics star was asked one of the easiest questions out there: who's your favorite WNBA player? It was the perfect opportunity to give Clark her due, show support for the movement, and echo what so many others had already said. Instead, Tatum gave a flat, dismissive answer without even mentioning Clark's name.
Favorite WNBA player? Asia Wilson.
No explanation at all, no context, no warmth toward what Clark's been doing. Just a brush off. To be fair, Wilson is a legitimate superstar with multiple championships, so this wasn't about disrespecting her. It was about completely ignoring Clark, the one player who's reshaped the league's finances, carried it on her back, and turned WNBA games into must-watch events. Yet Tatum, one of the NBA's biggest names, chose to act like she wasn't even in the conversation. Not a mention, not even a nod of respect. Clark isn't asking for fake praise. That's exactly why this isn't just disappointing, it's genuinely embarrassing. She's earned real recognition. She's taken more hits than any athlete should have to, gotten snubbed from Team USA, and been picked apart in the media, yet she keeps showing up and handling it all with composure. After everything, Tatum couldn't even say her name. It wasn't a missed opportunity. It was a statement. Intentional or not, the message was clear: I'm not engaging. And that's the kind of quiet disrespect Clark has dealt with all season, even as she inspires the very stars brushing her off. Kevin Durant has one of the loudest voices in basketball. He knows exactly how much weight his words carry, whether it's a tweet, a comment, or a podcast appearance. So when he was asked to name his favorite female athlete, the whole sports world expected him to say Clark. Instead, he gave a quick, one-word answer, and it wasn't her name. That wasn't an accident. That was a choice. Let's be honest, Clark has been the biggest story in sports this year. She's selling out arenas, breaking viewership records, and bringing eyes to a league that's been overlooked for decades, all while getting fouled hard, mocked, criticized, and left off Olympic rosters, and still staying composed through it all. No one has done what she's doing. And instead of simply skipping over her, Durant went out of his way to highlight her biggest rival instead. That's not a neutral move, that's a pointed one. Angel Reese is a solid player, no one's arguing otherwise. But when you look at everything Clark has accomplished, why deliberately spotlight the player most associated with criticizing her, especially when Clark has been the one driving the league's visibility night after night? By any measure, Clark's impact has outpaced Reese's. So why make that choice? It wasn't a genuine pick, it read more like a calculated move, a quiet "I'm not on her side" statement from someone who clearly understands how media narratives work. In doing this, Durant didn't just overlook Clark, he undercut her, because when someone with Durant's influence ignores the biggest story in the sport, it sends a signal. It echoes the same resistance Clark has faced from the start. And staying silent when she's carrying this much weight only adds to the problem. This isn't just background noise anymore. When NBA players start speaking candidly and passionately, on camera, it means something real is happening. Clark hasn't just sparked conversations in the best way, she's making the league uncomfortable, and that discomfort is exactly where her power lies right now. She's more than just a great player. In a league full of safe, non-committal answers, she's the one forcing people to actually take a stance, react, and be clear about where they stand. She's earned more admiration than some of her peers ever expected. Pascal Siakam acknowledged it. Steph Curry saw his own game reflected in hers. LeBron praised what she's already achieved: sold-out arenas, record-breaking ratings, chartered flights. Tyrese Halliburton ranks her among the top 5 names in basketball right now, and that's not exaggeration, that's simply accurate. Then there's Luka choosing her over Paige, Trae Young ready to go head-to-head with her, Obi Toppin lighting up like a genuine fan, and Paul George needing just a few words to shut down the doubters. Tatum, on the other hand, stayed quiet. And Durant made a choice that spoke volumes on its own. When it comes to Clark, the NBA is clearly split, and maybe that's exactly the point. Greatness doesn't create indifference, it forces honest, unfiltered reactions. And at this point, there's no debating her talent. No one in this league has ever pulled in crowds like NBA-level audiences while facing the kind of scrutiny and criticism usually reserved for the biggest stars. That's not noise, that's legacy in the making. And the scariest part? She's just getting started.